Welcome to the ThunderCast, your martial athletics podcast produced by the fans, for the fans. We're bringing you the thundering word on the thundering herd each and every week. So keep it right here. The ThunderCast is on the loose. Thanks for downloading another episode of the ThunderCast. You can follow us on Twitter at ThunderCast_pod across pretty much every social media outlet out there. You can listen to the show, of course, anywhere you like to listen to your favorite podcast. And if you're watching, once again, you have already found the ThunderCast YouTube channel. While you're there, please click the subscribe button, like and share the link so we can continue to grow this herd listener base because, like I say all the time, the more people that listen, the more opportunity we have to do cool stuff for more people. And that's kind of what it's all about for us. I mean, talking about the herd's one thing, but, giving back to the fan base, galvanizing and growing the fan base is really the purpose behind the ThunderCast. So KD and Jed back with you once again for another round of things that every herd fan's going to need to know this week. And, of course, Jed's going to take you around the herd here in a little bit. How's the week going?
Man, it's been a busy week. Not a bad week, but definitely been busy. Obviously, there's a lot going on in martial athletics, but as we're going to talk about, man, it's starting to wind down, which means we're getting ready to move into that next phase of things that we'll eventually start talking about, which honestly, I'm really excited about because it's a lot of you and Russ talking about football, so I love it.
You get to just chill take this off my plate for a little bit and just be a fan again and relax again. Well, I heard through the grapevine that you guys experienced the cold snap in West Virginia. Yeah. Did that happen?
We did, yeah. It got near freezing one night, and then for a couple of days that next day it was like 50-some degrees. So funny story. It was a Saturday. I remember now. We woke up and I coach. My little daughter. She's 5, and I coach her little team. And we had a game. So they schedule our games at 8:30 or 9:30. So we had an 8:30 game, and we pulled out of the driveway, and it was 37, 38 degrees outside. Going to a little soccer game. It warmed up a little bit that day, but it was
wow. I mean, if you guys are watching on YouTube right now, you can tell that it's definitely not been a cold snap down here in my part of the country. I am burnt like a crisp right now. It got up in the 90s today, Jed, and it's already in full freaking Florida swing down here, man.
Yeah.
Mid 80s and 90-degree days and only getting hotter and more humid and more gates of hell for the next 5 months.
Right.
But I don't think I would trade it for pretty much anything. I really love it down here. It's just I got a little toasty today at work, man. I'm kind of hurting up here on the old forehead. So
well, you gotta get that base that base layer going, and then you'll be good.
Well, normally I wear like something to I don't wear a hat. I wear like a almost like a bandana or a headband or something to keep my hair from getting in my face and stuff, or catch a sweat. And as with the nature of my work, I was riding along on a car and tried to duck out of the way from some fresh growth trees. Took a branch to the face, and there went my headband. So it was just a full bore sun on my face today without any protection. So that's why it's nice and singed up. But anyway, that's just how the cookie crumbles sometimes. But I'll tell you what, man, you're right. It was a busy week in herd athletics, even though it is not a whole lot going on. We're down to the nitty gritty of everything, and we're starting to talk about seeding for conference championship tournaments. We're getting some postseason awards, or regular season awards. The things are littered with that, and the seventh one you're definitely going to want to stick around for because this is big news across all of herd athletics. So, Jed, what do you say we get a word from our sponsors at Leasure Oliver PLLC?
Let's do it.
If you've been hurt in a wreck, call the law firm of Leasure Oliver PLLC. Find them at 304carwreck.com.
Let's get right into it. We've got 7 things this week brought to you by Ignite.link. So before we get it kicked off, and we're going to get a word from Ignite.link, of course, very, very, very softball heavy. as you might imagine. I don't know if it's been a busy week for me at work as well. So some of these things slip through the cracks for me as they happen, and I don't see them until the evening. And I'm like, wow, what a great week. So we need to we got to give some players their due. And well, I don't know, we got to get into it. So let's get us a word from ignite.link.
And now, here are at least 5 things every Herd fan needs to know this week. As always, brought to you by ignite.link, the Tri-State's premier IT management team.
The number one thing this week, Jed, SBC softball awards are in. Sid Burko is the SBC Player of the Year and the SBC Newcomer of the Year. And, of course, Sid Burko, of course, makes the All-SBC first team. She led the league in home runs, I believe, ranked top 10 in 4, 5, 6 major categories. A great season by third baseman Sid Burko.
I don't think we saw this coming, did we? I mean, she just came out of nowhere at the tail end of the season. I'm joking, man. I think we knew this was coming, especially early on in the season. It was plain as day what kind of a player Sydney is, and I think you're going to be talking about a couple other players as well too. That's getting some great recognition, and the team as a whole, obviously. Nobody operates in a vacuum in any of these sports. But man, what a great story, what a great career, what a great season, and man, I'm really looking forward to this tournament. I'm hoping they can just do as you say. Let's just go on a run, go on a roll, win some games, and watch her continue to add to the record that she's already broken. And man, couldn't agree with this more, right? But to not only win Player of the Year, but Newcomer of the Year, how special is that?
I think that's really, really cool. Of course, I think we could have all seen first team all conference coming for a while. Mm-hmm. She's been ranked several times throughout the season as a top third baseman in softball, so that's not really surprising. What I wasn't sure of how it would go is Player of the Year. I felt pretty good about Newcomer of the Year too, but you never know if the SBC or really any conference is going to want to kind of like give an award or give 2 awards to the same player in the same cycle. Like a lot of times, for example, in football, you would see Offensive Player of the Year being somebody different than MVP or Player of the Year or something. Like they wouldn't, you're spreading it out. So you never really know how it's going to go. But I think she was the best player in the conference. I mean, she was, and of course broke Marshall records, and now conference accolades, first team All SBC, and honestly, maybe the coolest one of them all, Jed, is that she was the number one thing 2 weeks in a row on the ThunderCast. I mean, good Lord,
of course,
it's probably like right up there with any of the week or any, I mean, the plaque for being the number one thing on the ThunderCast two weeks in a row, potentially 3. We'll see how it goes this week.
Right.
It's tournament time. I mean, I'm sure that award's going to go right next to the Player of the Year, probably in front of the Newcomer of the Year. Well, that's just how we roll here. It's pretty prestigious.
Exactly. And if we get a trophy made, there may or may not already be, I don't know, but I think we should have. Hey, I was trying to build the suspense. But I think we should put together a trophy or a series of trophies, and we start handing out awards for this. And I think Cindy could be the first one to get it.
Well, I'll be honest with you here. I've thought about that in my head. I have thought, they do the Marcos for the athletic, the athletic year, all that kind of stuff. And I have thought that we should do some end of the year awards too. We cover every single freaking sport from top to bottom all season long. And I've thought about, we should have our team of the year, our moment of the year. We don't have to get MVPs from every single, every single athletic team, but things like that. You remember what the ESPYs used to be before it became a legitimate award show, when it was moment of the year and play of the year and team of the year and stuff like that? And I think that would be cool, and that would be something that I would be interested in exploring further, honestly.
Yeah. I think it's a great idea.
I think that would be cool. Let's move on. Number 2, still keeping with softball. Sid Burko had such a great year, but not the only one awarded by the Sun Belt Conference. Jules King, Ava Blake named second team All SBC, and Diamond Leslie and Tia Titi named honorable mention. You mentioned this in just a moment ago. Nobody does this by themselves. This is a full team effort, and seeing 4 more Herd players honored across SBC, all SBC teams, speaks to that. This was a true team effort, and it speaks directly to how successful they were as a team this year.
Yeah, absolutely. And the accolades match with, with that, right? We're going to talk a little bit later around the Herd about the how the season wrapped up and what we're doing moving forward into the tournament. But, you can't have a team like this be as successful as they're being with just one amazing player. And Sid's an amazing player, obviously, but you've got a whole crew of amazing players doing amazing things, which has all come together into the one of the best seasons softball's had in recent history. So, man, really cool that we're getting. Was it 5? We had 5 people, 5 players recognized with first team, second team, and all that. And that's just just goes to show where this team is at and what they're doing, and that's great, man. I love seeing it. It's really exciting and super cool.
Yeah, it's very, very cool. Now, of course, there's nothing left to do except win the whole damn thing, right? We've said this many, many times, is that elusive conference championship. It's been a decade, I believe, right at a decade, since they won the Conference USA title. Morgan Zirkle was a player on that team. How cool would that be if she leads the Herd to a SBC championship? That would really be cool. But there's a lot of softball left to be played.
Right.
Anything can happen. But I really do like the depth of this pitching staff. This is something that we have not really had in preparation to make a deep tournament run when we've had really good teams in the past. So we'll talk about that in Around the Herd. Number 3, also keeping with softball, senior catcher Abby Darnley received the 2026 Warrior Award for Marshall softball. I say this is the highest award that Herd softball will award someone. So I look forward to this every year to see who wins the Warrior Award. And this year, catcher Abby Darnley.
Yeah, that's really cool, man. She's obviously a oh shoot, what I'm trying to say, an elder statesman of the team, to put it that way. And Ward, it's really great, man, and glad that this happened to her. I mean, she's doesn't have the accolades as far as the the stats, the big eye-popping stats, but an anchor of the team, has performed very, very well at a very, very high level, and man, this is really cool send-off for her.
Well, it is, right? And she's a West Virginia girl. She's from Eleanor, comes out of Buffalo High School, recruited by Megan Smith Lyon. So she started her career under Megan, finished it under Morgan. So she's been with the Herd her entire career, and was one of those players that as a youngster was behind a really, really productive player for the Herd, a former catcher Autumn Owen, who's a record holder herself in Herd softball lore. Transferred when Megan got the job to UNC, but she just has always been a very consistent player. Abby's been there when you needed a big hit, when you needed when you really needed to throw out a runner, that type of thing. Just a great all-around player, a good ambassador for Herd softball. I'm really happy for her to win this, because that's a big deal, man. That's a big, this is the most prestigious award that softball hands out annually, and she deserved it. She earned it. you know.
Absolutely.
And what else can you say about that? She deserved
Yeah.
it, and she earned it.
And that's the one thing I do want to just clarify something I said earlier. I don't know if it came out the way I wanted to, but it's like, stats don't tell the whole story was what I was going towards, right? Like, so it's not to say, well, the didn't have big stats, but there are times where you have a player where the story around the player is not easily seen through just the stat line. It's all the things that you take into consideration, being local, and all the things that you talked about, like all those things come together for a person who very much deserves this award. And it goes beyond just the stat line,
Sure.
because it's beyond just that, the consistency in the play and the leadership and all those things. And so I want to that was my clarification was I don't want to focus too much on the stats because the story is what's important here. And the stats don't always tell that whole story.
Well, if this were just whoever hits the most home runs win the award, or whoever gets the most strikeouts wins the award, then okay, but that's not what this is. There's a lot of factors that go into this sort of thing, and it's not just a stats-driven thing. And I think that's why it's so prestigious to me, is that you have to lead the team in home runs. You don't have to lead the team in wins or strikeouts or doubles or whatever. It's a collection of the whole. Like as what you bring to the table as a player, not just stats wise, leadership, all that kind of stuff. That's what's really cool. Number 4, Jed, we're going to switch gears now and we're going to talk women's basketball because the portal is still open and the herd is still, well, let's see. The portal is still givething. That's the as the title of the episode will allude to. The portal still giveth. Women's basketball picked up a commitment from transfer guard Anaya Harris from Gardner Webb. She'll be a senior, but will have 2 years to play. Able to attain a medical red shirt, just appeared in a handful of games as a sophomore. So should have 2 years. We'll say that. Averaged 10 points per game for Gardner Webb last year. So another piece to the Julie Fulks rebuild roster, or reloaded roster, I guess we should say. But welcome to the herd, Anaya Harris.
Yeah, so she had last season almost just shy of 3 rebounds, 1.7 assists, 1.3 steals, 40.1% shooting, and all in 27 minutes per game. So, bringing somebody who's, we've talked about this before, especially in the era of the transfer portal, you're bringing in somebody who's done it at the Division I level, who's done it well at the Division I level. Mm-hmm. And so this is, I think you allude to this all the time. This isn't obviously it's not a rebuild, it's a reload with this team. And so, on paper and from what we can see, great addition. We welcome you to the herd and look forward to next season.
Yeah, I think this is just like the next piece of the puzzle. And at this point, I just trust in the system. I just trust what if Julie likes it, I like it. I'm starting to fall in line with how we talk about Chris Grassy in soccer, right? Mm-hmm. Like who am I to judge? Because his results speak for themselves. Right. Well, so does Julie's. And she won big before she got to Marshall. Took a little bit of time, but now look, winning big. And now, again, you're going to look to build next year to make that conference tournament run. The WNIT was great. I'd do it again if we didn't get a shot at the NCAA tournament. But that postseason tournament holds so much importance that it's kind of crazy. And I'm not saying this is what the herd will do or has done. But any team, could stink it up all year and eke in to their conference tournament as like the lowest seed, catch absolute fire and win the whole damn thing, and they're going to go to the NCAA tournament. Right. So I don't know how I always feel about that kind of stuff, but that's a reality that exists. So now that's the next goal for this team, I feel like, is to win that conference tournament, get to that NCAA tournament. And maybe Anaya Williams or Anaya Harris is the next big piece of that puzzle.
Yeah.
All right, number 5. Let's move right along. Let's talk about men's basketball because the portal is still giving, Jed. Herd signed 7'1" transfer center Kaman Maker from DePaul. He has 3 years left. If you're looking at the stats, it probably won't blow you away or anything. He only averaged 5.5 minutes per game. So, of course, production is going to be pretty low. But upside, potential, I think, is what we're looking at here. He was originally a 4-star recruit coming out and was signed by Rick Pitino at St. John's. So, Rick Pitino, all-time great coach, got an eye for talent, obviously. So we'll see if Corny Jackson and this staff is able to get a little bit more of that ability across undoubtedly some larger minutes for common maker. So another piece to the puzzle.
Absolutely. So 2 thoughts. First of all, I don't have my whiteboard, so we're going to have differentiator, consistency, and now Giveth. So
I'm a thesaurus.
Hey, Katie's words of wisdom. I'm telling you, I'm gonna do it. But yeah, I don't know. Like over the last few years, I just Corny's had a really good eye for some of these big guys, man.
Yes.
These 7-footers and not slouches either. Not just the guys of just height. Van Komen, unfortunately, this last season, was dealing with injury. But when he was a force out on the floor. And then we had, I
mentioned this.
I did the year before.
Right. But I mentioned this a few episodes back. It's Nate Martin. If Nate Martin had one more year and it was this year he was able to play, and Van Komen goes down. Imagine, first of all, having both those guys with the ability to be on the floor at the same time. But if you go down and Van Komen goes down and you still have Nate Martin there, this hurts a really dangerous team. So you're right. Corny Jackson has had a penchant for finding the big man down low that is a focal point of his offense. And it also just don't hurt to be 7-1. I don't know.
Right. Well, you've got to then at that point, any team that you play has to game plan with that in mind.
Sure.
That, it's one thing to drive in against a 6'8", 6'9", whatever guy. But when you're, 7'1", and you're just a force down low, and you just have to take that into consideration. A lot of times you don't see this on a stat line, but we've seen it in games where that has an effect on the game itself. Even if you're not getting a lot of blocks, even if you're not scoring a lot of points, it does have an effect on the game itself. And I think the biggest thing, I don't want to get too far off in in the weeds here, but I think one of the biggest things that affected last season was the fact that when we dealt with injuries, that we just didn't have that if you said if we had Nate Martin another year, have enough of that depth. So if you do have that injury, to keep that big presence down low that would affect games, that I think we would have had a little bit of a different outcome this season. And this is, Coach Jackson he's got a system that he's wanting to play, and he's got a guys that fit that system that he's looking for, and it's giants, and man, he's getting them.
Well, good. Good. I feel for coaches at mid-majors in this era, man, because it's not unheard of to have to rebuild a complete roster or damn near the complete roster year over year. And Corny's had to do it quite a bit, and he's still, and people still have the knee-jerk reaction when guys start to enter the portal. Oh my God, what are we going to do? Oh my God. Mm-hmm. Well, and of course it takes a little time. Right. I mean, you're months and months away from any type of organized basketball activities at Marshall. So you have time to find the pieces, recruit, and we've seen like when this one publishes, 2 of our last 3 episodes will have to do with the portal. And that just tells you it can take a while. So we're starting to see some of those guys come in now. We're starting to see a roster fill out, and we're still not done. We can't be done. We lost like 12 guys or something. I mean, a lot of guys entered the portal or exhausted eligibility, and I don't think we've signed 12. So there's still work to be done. So collectively, we can all continue to take normal breaths and see what kind of action happens as the weeks unfold, because we still got plenty of time. We still get to do football season before we get too deep into basketball season. I mean, not the whole football season, but football preseason and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, another piece of the puzzle for Corny as well. Number 6, Jed, Cameron Burgess breaks the school record, shocker, in the men's 110-meter hurdles with a time of 14.25 seconds. The record had stood for 26 years. It was set in the year 2000 by B.J. Epps. So another week, another track and field record goes down. Writing, rewriting, and rewriting the Herd Track and Field record book weekly.
Love it, man. We've talked about, track and field has made up 5 things, I think, at least every week this year, or pretty close to it, at least when they've been in session. Let me put it that way. Anytime they've had an event that we can talk about, I think they've made it into the 5 things. I'm surprised it's not somebody else in the 5 things, but man, always something talking about track and field, breaking records, doing really awesome things. And, here's just another notch in the cap that, track and field is improving. It's getting better. It's on a great trajectory, and man, Cameron's part of it. And this is awesome.
Yeah, and now we're edging ever closer to SBC championships, right? And we're starting to, we're not starting. I don't even think, we used to talk about peaking. You want to make sure you're peaking at the right time.
Right.
But dude, they just been peaking all freaking season long. So I don't know what to think right now. Are we just in a really good position? Is their peak still ahead of them? Like, who knows? Who knows what's going to happen during these individual events, these team events? Who knows? Yeah. I think you've got some guys on the roster that you would think are favorites in certain events. I don't really know. We've talked about this before. I can't keep up with every team and every record and everything. But
right.
How wild would it be when you talk about something like the high jump or the triple jump? What if the herd goes 1, 2, 3? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like you've got 3 guys that could legitimately capture an SBC championship. That's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. This could be a very, very interesting SBC championships, man. It's going to be very, very cool. The herd could have their most productive championships since joining the Sun Belt. And we've already had individual Sun Belt champions in track and field. So
right.
Can we break the record of most individual champions in a given championship week tournament? That would be cool too.
Yeah, that would be awesome, man. And I think we've got a group of athletes that are going to be at least pushing for that, and will make some noise. And obviously they've been making noise and doing these things. So wouldn't be surprised if we break some more records. Not sure what they might be, but that would be a really cool one to break.
It's just the theme of the season is to break the records. All right, number 7, the one I told you guys really needed to stick around for, because this is big news across the athletic department. Marshall Athletics, via a deal brokered by Learfield, has secured a sponsorship from Marshall Health Network for every athletic team at Marshall, with a logo patch on every team's jersey. It's a 5-year deal. This is the 11th, just the 11th sponsorship on a uniform in all of the NCAA. 4th for all athletic teams at a university, and the first of its kind, obviously, in the Sun Belt. Now, Sun Belt Conference mate University of Louisiana Monroe has a school sponsorship for football only, but currently Marshall's the only one in the SBC to have an athletic department-wide sponsor for all of its teams. So the herd is kind of a first mover in this. This has got to be a new revenue stream as you start to look at things like rev share and all these new things that are coming into the equation for athletics departments. My favorite part about this, though, and I tweeted this when I saw the news. Remember we talking about this last week. We thought it might be a uniform reveal, and it was this. This was the news. But this is what I tweeted. It's brand cohesion, man. Even though it's not herd athletics, it's not Marshall University per se, it's the Marshall Health Network. So you're still getting green, white, and black, and it fits right in there on your jerseys. It's not out of place. Now, since Russ couldn't be here, he asked me to read something that he had written, but I want to get your reaction to this before I do that.
Sure. Yeah. You don't want to take any of his thunder, no pun intended. from this, but no, it's the most perfect partnership. I think most people know, technically from a technicality standpoint, it's not like Marshall is representing or is, funding this themselves. This is Marshall Health Network is a separate entity.
Sure.
It's actually several entities, if you want to get technical. And so it is really honestly the perfect partnership for this, because you're not, putting on, and eventually, we've seen schools do field naming rights and different things like that. And, Go Mart's a big sponsor and, of things. And you've got all these other entities, and, the thing that you can run into is, that the name may seem or feel weird, or something might look or feel weird and out of place. Like you said, with the Marshall Health, it's Kelly Green, it's the Marshall logo. It's it's the perfect sponsorship, especially for being a first in the Sun Belt. Perfect sponsorship, like you said, revenue stream. Way to add to the revenue share and things like that. Add to the bottom line for the athletic department, for all athletic teams. So very cool. I don't know why I wouldn't be on board, or anyone wouldn't be on board, but I'm totally on board with this. I think
this needed to happen anyway. We had to find a sponsor, and of course, the sweetheart that everybody wanted to see, kind of, sort of, would have been like the Tudors Biscuit World.
Yes,
but that's just kind of, But I mean, no shade at Tudors, but that would have been a little out of place, right? Because it's a yellow and black, and it just would have like stuck out. And that's kind of what Russ is talking to. So let me read what he wanted me to say here. He says, since I obviously can't be there to weigh in, please pass along my thoughts on how great it will be to have a sponsorship deal that is so synergistic with the university, has the Marshall M logo, and has the Kelly Green white and black color scheme to seamlessly integrate into our uniform. See, I think all three of us now, that's our favorite part of this whole thing, is that we will continue to look sharp as hell in those Kelly Green white and black unis. If you're going to have a patch logo on your uniforms, he continues, something orange, brown, and purple, for example, Larry's bail bonds, is not going to look as clean as this. This is the best possible outcome and great partnership to help with revenue. So we're all in line with thinking this.
Right.
The coolest thing from the fan perspective to me is we continue to look sharp on the field. There's not some clashing color that is taking away from our beautiful shade of Kelly Green. That's not going to happen, at least not for the next 5 years. So hope you guys re-up in 5 more years. But anyway, this is a big deal. Our athletic department, as so many athletic departments across the country, are needing to find more ways to generate revenue. It's no secret. We all need to make more money. I mean, hell, I need to make more money in my house. So I'm sure, and I don't operate a $40 million household or a $50 million household, So this lightens the load a little bit. And I don't think by no means would they go, all right, we're good, we don't need to find anything else.
Right.
But more sponsorships are always great. More people that believe in the herd and herd athletics and are willing to put a check behind that. If you're a business, I believe, awesome. Well, I mean, even if you're not a business, if you just join the Big Green, that's your belief in herd athletics as well, on a much smaller scale. I mean, I'm sure this isn't $60 or $100 a year, to get your jersey, get the patch on your. I mean, if it was, dude, we would. All right, if we hit it big, if I hit the Powerball in the next 5 years, I'm telling you, Marshall Health, that ThunderCast logo is going to be the next jersey sponsor. If I hit the Powerball, it's on. Right.
You're right.
Mark my words. I'm 6 lucky numbers away from us having that. But anyway, awesome deal to close out the things this week.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree with you more. As much as I would have loved to see Tudor's Biscuit World on something, I think the jerseys is probably not the thing we want them on. But the Tudors, I don't know. Come on, guys, you got to do something. Let's there's something we can do here, some sort of partnership
There's something
we can broker.
Like, why isn't there like a giant biscuit out in the outfield of the baseball stadium? So if you hit the biscuit, then
Yes.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, free Tudor's biscuits for everybody at the game or something. Yeah,
bring in your ticket
do
stub. Buy
something.
one, get one biscuit. See, I'm full of them,
Yeah.
full of ideas.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, I know. All right. Well, that is 7 things that every herd fan needs to know this week. Brought to you by ignite.link, the Tri-State's premier IT management team. And now, if you're ready, what do you say we go around the herd?
Let's do it.
And now, Layer 1 Solutions, your experts in business connectivity infrastructure, takes you around the herd.
Yeah, so and we kind of alluded to this earlier in the episode when we were talking. There's a lot of news, a lot of things to talk about, but just like every good athletic season, unfortunately, it has to come to an end, and so we're starting the wind down. So we're not there yet. We still have some things that we'll be able to talk about, but we're starting the wind down. We've had some sports go ahead and finish. We talked about golf last week. Finishing their seasons and things like that. So, our around the herd segment is getting a little smaller and a little smaller as we approach graduation. So, but we're not quite done yet. So we're going to start with track and field, as we talked about before. I was surprised that we did not mention Trayshawn Smith. I was almost convinced he would be a thing this week just because he tends to be that way. He is definitely in the running for the ThunderCast 5 things most frequent visitor or recipient.
The 5-finger. What do you call that? The 5-finger of the year? I don't know.
5-finger of the year. Yeah, we'll come up with something. But he's definitely in contention here. All right, so I need Sid and Trayshawn to submit their cases to us, and we will evaluate for the award. But man, he won the men's triple jump per the usual arrangement, and the men's high jump. So he did both triple jump and the men's high jump this last week at the Jim Green Invitational. They were right at 20 scores for the herd with a bunch of top 5 finishes. So we still had several athletes set personal bests, as we've talked about. I'm not going to cover everything. I'm not going to cover all this now. But if you want to look at all the full results, obviously you can go over to Herd Zone and look at those. There's a couple of articles that cover those. But man, I mean, I think we talked about this last week and the week before and the week before that. You've got personal bests that are being done. Top 5 finishes. 20 people scoring. Like the consistency is there. There's a lot going on, and they're performing at a very high level. So your thoughts on this last meet?
Not surprising. I mean, these are the usual suspects, right? I mean, there's a good reason we don't run down every single personal best, every single whatever, is because there's so many of them each and every week. But the usual suspects, again, are represented in a big way in herd and track and field this week yet again. That's why I said earlier it's not going to surprise me if we could potentially have our most decorated SBC championship since joining the conference. So gear up and get ready. I mean, Trayshawn's like cruising right now. I mean, he's just in the zone. Got to be one of the odds-on favorites to make a well, I'll say medal, but you know what I mean. He's got to be one of the odds-on favorites for an SBC individual championship in the high jump, and I'm sorry, it is eluding me. Triple jump or long jump, I can't remember. Whatever. Crushing it all year long. But there's 2-3 guys that are going to battle for that same deal, those same events. We're like, that's why I say I just feel really good about our chances this year.
So I do want to just run just across just a couple of things just to highlight them, and then we'll bounce on to the next thing. But the men's and the women's 4x100 relay teams finished in the top 4. And so, that's your top 5 finish. So, 4th place, not necessarily a podium finish, but both the men and the women's finished in there. Day 1 finished with recording 10 scores. So Cole Miller was the top collegiate finisher in the men's long jump with a 7.44 meter personal record. So he sets a new personal record. But by the way, we always talk about the guys that break records. But we don't always talk about the ones that come pretty close. So I wanted to give Cole a shout out because he set his own, set a personal record, but it's the second best in program history.
Mm-hmm.
So he's right there.
Mm-hmm.
So he's close to breaking a record. So, and then we've talked about Laura Check before. She she got 5.93 meters in the long jump, and Grady and Graham hit 57.02 as a personal best in his event. So just really cool things going on. Again, I'd highly recommend you check out the Herd Zone article. Familiarize yourself with these names, because these athletes are working hard doing really cool things.
Yep.
So, all right. Last thing about that is the SBC Outdoor Championships. Like we talked about, we're nearing the end of our seasons. Are up next, starting Thursday of next week. So, not next episode, but the following episode, we will bring you the results of that. I have a feeling that Trayshawn or some of these other guys are going to be making
OTO Mott. Yeah. Mark Lamore, Laura Check. So many people have been performing right near the top of the SBC that you don't know. You never know. You never know.
So as added motivation to you guys, because I know all of the track and field people listen to the Thundercast religiously. I just know they do. But hey, if you want to make it, if you want to make a thing, you just break records next week. So
yeah.
All right. Bouncing over to baseball. Lost 2 of the 3 at JMU, unfortunately, losing 4-3, and then turning around and winning pretty big, 9-0, and then losing 5-3. And then the midweek game ran up to Charleston, playing at the Dirty Bird Stadium, playing number 15 WVU. Lost that game in Charleston 7-2.
Mm-hmm.
So, thoughts on all that?
Yeah, I was struggling. Obviously, struggling. Guys are struggling, and they're kind of. I don't know. I mean, they're backing into the baseball tournament seeding right now. Got to turn something around here. I mean, they got an opportunity coming up this weekend. Got ULM coming to the Jack, so you got an opportunity to kind of get a sweep, maybe make it look a little bit better. And then I don't know. You're going to have to go on the road to close out all the way out to San Marcos to play Texas State to close out the season. So, yeah, you get a midweek sandwiched in there. Virginia Tech's coming to the Jack. So you got some opportunities to maybe steal a crowd or two, but you really need to start stacking some wins really soon. I mean, you're running out of conference opportunities. You got 6 opportunities left to get some wins and help seeding out. And I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, obviously it's just not working consistently right now, and I don't know what the answer is. And obviously if the squad, if the coaching staff knew the answers, they would make the changes, and we would. But it's we just don't know.
We just don't know. And what we the thing to do now is you've gone through some a skid. You're going through multiple skids. You're losing series, losing games. You're not going to get that high top seed. That's not coming your way. But what you can do is work on fixing these things to hopefully win some of these games, end your season on a high note, and then go into the Sun Belt Conference tournament play, playing your best ball. That's really what your strategy and goal should be.
We kind of saw that last year, man. They caught a little fire, and that's what really put them on the radar for some of these other SBC fan bases. Like, what the hell, man? We're supposed to roll through Marshall and get them out of this tournament, and here we are, and he kept winning and kept winning, and eventually bounced by Coastal, who eventually goes on to be the national runner-up. So, it is what it is, and it's just like basketball. You can ho-hum your way into the tournament and then catch absolute fire, and then all of a sudden it's like, where's this been for weeks?
Right.
But still, but you can still go notch 6 wins and probably improve your starting point in that tournament.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And so the season's not over. You're definitely fighting an uphill battle, but you've got opportunities coming up. Like KD mentioned, You've got a game this weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Friday's game is at 6, Saturday's game is at 4, and Sunday's game is at 1. So if you are in and around Huntington this weekend, grab you some tickets if you don't have them already, and catch a baseball game or 2 or 3, and cheer on this herd to a series win and hopefully a sweep. And then Virginia Tech is coming to town, like you mentioned, and that's on Tuesday at 6 o'clock. So
Cool.
Get your tickets and come show out. All right. Last but definitely not least, we're going to talk about softball. Just a bit of a heartbreaker this weekend for a team that's been doing almost everything perfect and everything right. Had a really good opportunity to be the conference regular season champions, and just couldn't do it. Took on JMU at home and lost 5-3 to them on Friday, then getting shut out 5-0 on Saturday. And we won that first game of the series, but lost the last 2 of the series, and finishing at a good and excellent number 2 seed for the SBC tournament, which starts today as we record. But unfortunate way to end that series at home.
Yeah, it was all right there in front of them. And I'll tell you, man, if you look at the tail end of this season, from the midweek at Ohio on, that was after the sweep of Coastal in mid-April. Immediately after, so you had the sweep at App State, you had the big midweek game where you beat Pitt at the Dot, then you sweep Coastal Carolina on the road, then you come back and play a midweek at Ohio. After that, they were from that point until the end of that JMU series, they were a 5-6 team. So something went awry, and I think a big part of that was like run production seemed to just kind of lower quite a bit. The herd was putting up a lot of runs in a lot of games pretty often. And then we started seeing a lot of 2 runs, shutout, 4 runs, when they were cruising up around that 8-run mark a lot of the time. And that's what we need to see again. The pitching never really, I don't feel like, was a weak spot. I just feel like the run production went away a little bit, and it's hard to win games 3-2 all the time. Right. I mean, that keeps teams feeling like they have a chance. But if you're up 9-2, then it gets a little more hopeless for your opponent. But nonetheless, it was all in front of the herd there at home in a big series against James Madison. And it started looking good. First game, 7-3. See, first game, put 7 on the board, you win the game. Next game, only put up 3, can't win the game. Last game, get shut out, can't win the game. So dropping your final 2 to lose the series at home, first series loss in conference at home all season long. You give up the conference regular season championship to ULM. Unfortunate. Still end up as the number 2 seed in the SBC tournament. So not bad. They're going to play tomorrow. They're going to play tomorrow against the number 10 seed Coastal Carolina at 2 p.m. Eastern. So tune in, follow along on social media. We can't go out like that. That's the thing. You can't go out on a 3-game skid after winning 70% of your games all season long and breaking these records and pitching being the way it was, defense being the way it was. Can't do that. You got to make a run. You got to get to me, they got to get to the final game. They got to get to the championship game. Have to. I'm not saying they have to win it. I would love for them to win it. But I feel like this team has performed so well so much of the season that anything short of a championship game appearance should be a disappointment, should feel like a disappointment.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that. It's, this team's been, just an incredible, very, very talented team. We don't want to go out, we don't want to go out, period. But you don't want to go out going out on a skid and then, losing, your first round, your first game in this tournament. So what was it that you said about basketball, women's basketball, and then the tennis? There's a comment you made, something.
I think we probably should just go on a run. Just go on a little run. Just win a handful of games and see how it goes. Just win the whole damn thing.
Yeah, I mean, just you could just do it. Yeah, just do it.
What's the problem?
Just win.
Do it. Yeah. I mean, if you really want to, you will.
Right. Exactly. That's all it takes. Oh man. Well, KD, man, that's all we've got. All I've got for Around the Herd this week.
I got 2 quick things that came in today afterwards. Herd basketball signed and it is now official. Transfer from Tulane, Luke Rasmussen, is signed, and that is sealed and delivered. So officially a part of the Herd. And 56 Herd athletes celebrating spring graduation this week in the 2 programs that led the way with 8 apiece. Football, which is not surprising since they have 100 and some guys. It's pretty easy to lead the way. But the Spirit Squad, which is a combination of cheer and dance, also had 8 members graduating. Baseball second place with 7 graduating. So that tells me that Coach Beals might have a little work to do in the offseason. 7 guys departing off of this roster. But congratulations to those 56 Herd athletes earning those degrees and graduating this week. Pretty cool, man. Pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, congrats to those to all those athletes, and thank you for all you've done as a Herd athlete and giving us fans fun games, fun environments, things to cheer about. So it's we wouldn't be here if it weren't for you, right? And for the things that you do. So we absolutely appreciate you guys, and congratulations, and best of luck in your future endeavors.
Agreed. I co-sign that. I always make an opportunity, or always try to take the opportunity to tell, like our athletes, that I appreciate them making memories for me. You know what I mean? Because I'm the nerd that goes on YouTube and replays the plays over and all that kind of stuff. Like I like that. So I appreciate that. There are countless athletes over the years that have made memories, not just for me, but like I've shared with my kids as they were growing up. And that's just, I mean, me and my oldest son carried the goalpost out from the 2014 Conference USA Championship. Like you can't take that away. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's because of all those guys that busted their ass that whole year and won that championship. Hosted it, first of all, busted their ass all year long to be able to host it in Jones Edwards Stadium. And then they went out and won it in that dreary, drizzly, crappy day that turned into pure elation when you're trying to carry a goalpost out of the stadium and it's getting caught and you're trying to figure out how to finagle that thing out of there. Right. And then you walk it down to the steel place and they cut it up for you. And I don't have it on display, but I still have a couple of pieces of that goalpost. It's in my Herd memorabilia tote. Maybe I need to freshen the look up from time to time. Just cycle stuff out and cycle stuff in. Maybe I need to do that. But anyway, so I always try to take the opportunity to tell them thanks for making memories, and I appreciate it. And remember, Herd family is forever family. So just because you're done playing doesn't mean you're out of the Herd. Like now you get to be a fan. Now you get to come tailgate with us on game day,
right?
And just have a great time.
Absolutely.
It's really cool. So thank you for all that you've done, sacrificing, practice, injuries, all that. We appreciate it. Jed, if you got nothing else, take us out of here.
All right, I got nothing. So whether you see us at the Joan, whether you see us at the Cam, or whether you see us at the Jack this weekend, cheering our boys to a sweep of ULM, wherever you see us, we're going to be saying, go Herd.
Go Herd. It's the ThunderCast. Let's just win the whole damn thing this week, Jed. See you next week. Later.